Hey guys, this is our city design project on Lake Toomba by
Annika.
Dasha.
Imani.
This is a general region of where our city is located and where we will be building. This is also a map of all the general tools we have, such as hospitals, schools, food, energy sources, and housing, and where they will all be placed.
So when we were designing the city, we had some things we really wanted to pay attention to, like the resources in the area, what the natural geography looked like, and the different indigenous people groups. Because as we're building, we don't want to be harming the different areas there, and so we can have a more sustainable city. So, as you can see from this map of DRC, there is a lot of protected areas and there is quite a bit of rainforest. So, we are building up here, and you can see that it on Lake Toomba, like near where we're building, is the largest freshwater wetlands and the world's largest swamp forest and the second largest wetland area. So, because where we're building, there's going to be shallow, low shores, and these are navigatable by rivers and streams. This is something we needed to consider in our transportation and our housing. Additionally, the climate has is near the equator, so there is a lot of sun. However, since we're near a rainforest, we get high humidity and a rainfall of around 63 to 79 inches annually. And as you can see from these pictures, you can see the shallow waters because of the different trees that have been flooded. Another group that we wanted to consider in building was the different indigenous peoples in the area and looking at what they're doing to survive, like to live, and the knowledge they might be able to share with us. So, one thing we noticed was for their food, they gathered a lot of their food from the forest, as well as doing fishing in the lake and rivers nearby, and then subsistent hunting and farming. So these were all things we wanted to somehow include and use the plants and wildlife in the region to help sustain our area. Um, Another thing that we noticed was that a lot of these indigenous groups are threatened by logging, and because of this, they're being kicked out of their homes, as well as there being farm clearings that are hurting um, the protected forests. So in our design, we really wanted to make sure that we were protecting the forest as much as possible. We also noticed that there's a lot of different artisan goods that could be great for tourism, like bark cloth, printing, and mats and basket weaving. And so this is something that we could use as tourist attractions, and we could also set up our like market spaces to have an ability to like sell and buy different products.
These are all the parks that we have. So one of our national parks is up to 5,109 meters in elevation. It was created in 1925 and it ranges from 680 meters to 5,109 meters. And it's also a tourist attraction which showcases our city's natural beauty. Plants, we have lots of plants in all of our rainforests. They've adapted to have curved leaves, allowing them to collect water and long leaves that act as a water channel, collecting water droplets when it rains and collecting the plant with nutrients. And with the Tumba University, there are many different research opportunities, such as collaborations with our park systems in order to provide our students with hands-on experiences with live plants and create deeper connections with what they learn in the classroom. The Congo Basin is home to the second largest rainforest in the world. About 60% of this forest lies in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is the second largest tropical rainforest country in the world and has the greatest extent of tropical rainforest in Africa, covering more than 100 million hectares.
As part of this, also in our park system, we wanted to make sure that people in the cities are like drawn to the forest, so we could have different activities like going on boardwalks or having being able to canoe and really explore the natural beauties around them. So, a little bit behind the scenes because there's a lot to a city that you don't always notice or take for granted. Uh, the first thing is looking at food, where we as a city are going to be getting our food. We were primarily going to think at we were primarily planning on using fishing as a mode of feeding and protein for the city, as well as looking at the different native plants in the region, like cassava, um, bananas, and sugar canes, um, as well as quite a few others. And looking at how we can have farms and adapt those into our foods that are accessible. Then to how to like sell and promote these different foods to people in the city, we decided to design our downtown in a way that would com- um, cause a collaboration uh, between university students and businesses and then homeowners. So these different housing, these different like markets places, um, whether they're indoors or outdoors, can become a collaboration of different ideas and groups. And so there's a lot of crossing between people. For water, we wanted to look, since we are near a rainforest, we were going to look at harvesting rain. This is also a benefit of having rain gathered and going through pipes up and down buildings to the cistern, is that this can create um, gravitational energy, because as water flows down, we can have that spin motors, and that would help create energy. And then um, when there's excess energy, the water can be pumped up to the top, and then when energy is needed, it can be the water would flow down. Another thing we looked at was trying to make sure that our waters are protected, because we are near a incredible lake and protected marshes. So we wanted to make sure that we have a good treatment system for our water, so that we as a city are accessing clean water, but we are also not having runoff that is polluting our rivers. So another thing we looked at was waste and processing waste, because we again do not want to hurt the environment around us. So one thing would be getting rid of plastic bags, because those are hazards for the animals around us, and they're just not an appealing sight to see on the road. Additionally, we wanted to have more recycling opportunities, so dividing recycling bins between plastics, papers, and cans, as well as having a composting option. So by having more specific bins, this creates makes it easier for recycling companies to process materials, and we can send less stuff to landfills. And then another thing we really wanted to focus on was using solar for our energy, because we are near the equator, so there's a lot of sun. So on the top of buildings, we will have solar panels. We move this right here. Yeah. We have right here, as you cross over heading to the parks, there is some open areas that we thought we could put solar panels, and this would add excess energy that we can primarily use for a city, but also if we have any extras, we can export it to other areas.
So we wanted to focus on our essential workers, so schools, police stations, fire stations, and hospitals, and basically just first responders. Um, so the number of public schools we need five primary schools and four secondary schools, because 48.52% of the population in the area is below the age of 19, which is an age eligible for going to school. And then we want to have at least two police stations, as DRC is ranked 129th in the world for crime rate, and then it's ranked 13th in the world for murder rate. Um, which is 13.4 per 100,000 people. and it's 4% higher than the United States. So multiple police departments and stations and prisons and hospitals aren't necessary. Um, we already have there's already one hospital in the area, so we want to build a pediatric hospital and then also just another one, another hospital for good measure. We want to also focus on the constructing of buildings. So 71% of the population in DRC falls below the poverty line, so it's important for us to build smaller and cheaper houses so that more people can have a roof over their head. And with it being important to preserve the national forests, we cannot attribute to deforestation, so buildings constructed out of concrete are necessary, and we don't want to have any wood bases because we want to conserve the forest.
So another part of our education system is having higher education, and this makes an attraction for our city so that other businesses, outside businesses, would be interested in coming to the city. So our plan is to have our city in the center of the city, and we have built kind of the city and businesses around it to create a collaboration between higher education and business. So as you can see, the city is here, and then there are businesses surrounding it with as the different food options, so that there can be a cross between these, as well as we have different housing um, areas for both employees and employers and students. We also wanted to, as Dasha said earlier, we wanted to have system, a partnership with the local park system so that our university can work on preserving the environment around them. And you can see right here, again, we are using solar panels to power the university.
Okay, so transportation. Water travel is one of the most popular in the city. In Contrarian climate, the Congo Basin presents serious barriers to the road and rail constructions. Navigation is possible throughout the year on stretches of the Congo River, which navigate through all these cities, as well as navigational stretches of the tributes together consume about 9,300 miles of navigational inland waterways. The main port of maritime shipping is Matadi, yeah, situated near the mouth of the Congo River. So this is a roadmap of like the kind of transportation we have. So we have like bus.
So the idea with this is is that with our transportation, we want to work on having still road systems because people can't always afford vehicles, so are like cars. So instead, we're going to take advantage of public transportation and have buses, and as well as keeping road systems for people who use motorcycles, since that was a popular form of transportation already existing. And then, as Dasha kind of pointed to earlier, we will have with the waterways, we also have um, boating that can be done. So, like, people can rent boats or they can travel on boats through the marshes and rivers.
And bikes.
Yeah. And then this picture is we base this our city design or the road system and transportation a little bit on uh, Kinshasa, which is the capital of DRC.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.